Hi, welcome back to day 40 and the Light the World Build the Kingdom Challenge, where each day we're asking God for one thing that we can do today to light the world, to make it a better place, to build the kingdom on earth, and then we're acting on whatever comes. Today's thought is coming from Matthew chapter 15, and it's starting in verse 32 here. It says, "Then Jesus called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude." He's been healing this multitude of people. They've been bringing all their sick and they're lame and they're blind, and he's been healing them, and the people are glorifying the God of Israel. And so he's had compassion on these people because they've been with him for 3 days, and he realizes they're really hungry, and so he says, "I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way." And his disciples say unto him, "Whence should we have so much bread in the wilderness as to fill so great a multitude?" And Jesus said unto them, "How many loaves have ye?" And they said, 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves and the fishes, and gave thanks, and brake them, and gave to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and were filled. And they took up of the broken meat that was left 7 baskets full. And they that did eat were 4,000 men, besides women and children. So I was thinking about this in terms of our own inadequacies sometimes. I know in our lives sometimes what we know we need to do with our life, we don't feel like we've got enough. We don't have enough of the skills or enough of the talents, or maybe the time or the resources or the money or whatever it may be. We're in a state of lack. We feel like we don't have something. And I think when we turn to God, he can take that meager little bit of something, like the disciples had those 7 loaves of bread and those few fish. He took what they gave him. He started with whatever they brought forth. They didn't hold back. They didn't, somebody didn't take a loaf and keep it off for himself somewhere, or somebody didn't take a fish, and hide it. They took him everything they had, and then he blessed it and turned it into all of this abundance. And so I believe when we take what meager thing that we have, that we feel like isn't even going to be a drop in the bucket for what is needed, and we bring it to Christ, and we ask him to bless it and to make it enough, he can do that. He can stretch it, he can multiply it, he can amplify it. And he didn't just do just enough. He didn't do just enough to get by. They took up how many extra 7 baskets full. Okay, so all this extra, that they had plenty. They probably could send these people home with some extra for the next day or for later on their trip home or whatever. I'm reading some of your comments here. So Jennifer's saying it's hitting her with the movement. All we have is a couple loaves and a couple fishes, and he'll help the money, resources, and time to extend beyond anything we can fathom. I was actually thinking of that when I read this. I thought, we feel like we don't have the talents or the skills, but we have, this vision of what can be done to light the world, to make the world a better place, to really help women connect with their hearts, and to step into their full potential so that they can impact the world. And we a lot of times feel inadequate, or we have our emotional breakdowns, or we feel like we don't have the emotional or the mental fortitude or whatever. But God can take whatever we're throwing in there, we're putting in our all to do it. God can maximize that and make it be more than enough, over than above. What we give will be pressed down, overflowing, given back to us, and made available for whatever it is that God sees that we need to be doing in our life, our divine purpose and our divine mission. And I think it's sort of understood here that these disciples and everybody here, they were following Jesus Christ wholeheartedly. They were showing up, living their divine purpose. They were aligned with that. And I believe when we're aligned with that and we give God everything that we have, he can then take and magnify that and stretch it. So that's what I've been thinking about today, and I hope you'll join us in the 90-day challenge. We're on day 40. This is a really cool landmark, day 40, and we're going to day 90. So all you have to do is get down on your knees in the morning, ask God what's one thing that you can do to light the world, to make the world a better place. What loaf or fish can you throw over that way, give to Christ, and let Him magnify and turn it into something way bigger than maybe you even will ever even know the rippling effect of. All right, take care. God bless. Good evening.